Hello everyone and welcome to Cricket World TV. Odds on today looks at the IPL 2010 and delighted to welcome John Pennington with me in the studio today, the Cricket World analyst, and we're going to talk through the teams. John, what a great tournament it's going to be.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic. In 43 days, 60 games, 3 Champions League 2020 spots up for grabs, 184 players potentially involved. It's going to be a bonanza. I
won't ask you how many sixes just yet, but I think there's going to be raining sixes.
I think it certainly will.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's look at the teams in more depth then. Now, the first one, let's go alphabetically. We've got no favourites just yet. We'll come on to that later. Chennai Super Kings, what are your thoughts there? How do you think they're going to fare?
I think they're a very strong team. They've performed exceptionally well in the first 2 tournaments, expertly led by Mahendra Singh Dhoni, captain of India. India, of course, top-ranked side in Test match cricket. He's a major star. Other stars to look out for, people like Matthew Hayden. What an amazing tournament he had, particularly in South Africa. Some people saying he's past it. I don't think he is. I think he's going to be hitting lots of sixes and scoring plenty of runs and driving the Chennai Super Kings forward.
Anyone else we should be looking out for, do you think?
Some talented young Indian players, the likes of Suresh Raina, Subramanian Badrinath, of course, who can forget Matai Muralidharan, still spinning his magic.
We think we've got a pretty good side there. Where do you think we're going to end up maybe in the mix at the end of the tournament?
I think there'll be semi-finals around, definitely in the mix. So I'm not sure whether they're going to quite go on and win it, but they've come close before. They will be very, very confident. I think Chennai Super Kings fans will be as well. But for me, they're going to be in the mix for the semi-finals.
So, John, to wrap up then, Chennai Super Kings, what sort of odds can we expect to get on them?
Well, the best price you're going to get is around about 13-2 at the moment.
So, John, the Deccan Chargers and reigning champions, and of course with the talisman Adam Gilchrist. How do we think they're going to get on this year?
Well, what a story it was last year. They finished 8th. They've right down the bottom in the very first Indian Premier League. Shot back to prominence last year. Adam Gilchrist leading them to victory. And, well, who knows? They might just do it again. Absolutely right. Adam Gilchrist, what a great player he's been over the years. Continues to be a great player, a great leader as well. OK, so it's a great example. Now, obviously in the team, it's not just about the one player. There are some other key players we should be looking out for. Plenty of power in the batting, particularly for the Deccan Chargers. Herschel Gibbs, Andrew Simons, VVS Latchman, who had a poor first season, a lot better in the second season. I think when the captaincy was sort of taken away from, maybe just relieved a bit of the pressure. So they've certainly got some super batsmen, some super bowlers as well. RP Singh was the leading bowler in the second edition of the IPL, and he's one to watch. OK, well, they're hopefully going to have a good season. Where do we think their season will end up? Are they top 4? Are they middle? Are they going to retain their title? I'm not really sure, Jim. They had a brilliant season last year, but of course, as I said right at the very start, they didn't have a great season the first year. They could really go either way, so I'm sort of holding fire with it. Maybe come back and ask me midway through the tournament, I might have a better idea. OK, Delhi Daredevils? Good team. Virender Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, David Warner, AB de Villiers, Tilakarani, Dilshan. That is as explosive a batting lineup you could wish to see. New captain this year, Gautam Gambhir takes over from Virender Sehwag. It'll be fascinating to see what sort of impact that has. They've also they signed Wayne Parnell, a lot of left-arm fast bowlers. Wayne Parnell, Dirk Nannis, Ashish Nehra. So a very well-balanced team.
So apart from those players you mentioned, anybody else that might be on the radar?
AB de Villiers, I know I probably haven't mentioned a word about it. I really think he's going to have a big tournament. 2 brilliant centuries for South Africa against India. He's in good form. He has scored an IPL century before. Wouldn't rule him out doing it again. OK, so what do we think? Again, top 4, middle, or do we think they're going to struggle? I don't think they'll struggle. I think they're going to be easily, again, in the mix-up for the semi-finals. They've been in the top 4 both times so far, and I think they will be again, potentially going all the way to the final.
And what do the bookies think?
Bookies make them favourites. You can get between 4 and 5 to 1.
Kings 11 Punjab?
Interesting team. They just missed out on making the final in the first year, just missed out on making the semi-finals in the second year. So they've got maybe a point to prove. They've also got a new captain. Kumar Sangakkara takes over from Yuvraj Singh again. It's going to be interesting to see if he can bring the sort of influence and success he's had with Sri Lanka to the Kings 11 Punjab side. And any other players now? I've just spotted Brett Lee's name, of course. Hoping he'll be doing well and still a force in world cricket. Looking forward to seeing how Brett Lee gets on. He's obviously recently retired from Test cricket. He's committed to playing limited overs cricket, and yeah, we're going to be very interesting to see how he goes. OK, well, there's some star names there. Now, how do we think they're going to fare in the competition? I think they might struggle again to get through to the sort of semi-finals, finals. For me, if you had to say name a position out, I'd probably go for about 6th. OK, well, that will tie us in neatly to the odds that you can get on the team. And what sort of prices are coming through? Well, they're actually outsiders with most bookmakers, Jim. You can get the best price you can get is 10 to 1, but you can actually get them at 6 to 1. So some bookmakers aren't fancying them very much. Some are giving them a half-decent chance. Sounds like an outside bet to me. Shop around. OK, Kolkata Knight Riders. My tip to go quite far this year, Jim, they've had an absolutely dire time of things in the IPL so far, despite some of the best 2020 players in the world being on their roster. Chris Gale, Brendan McCullum, Brad Hodge. Now they got Shane Warne. I think this is going to be potentially their year.
You got some names in there that just evoke just big hitting, some good bowling as well. Anybody else on the team we should be looking out for?
Yeah, well, let's just look off the pitch to start with, Jim. Dav Watmore has taken over as coach. Now, we all know what he's done with Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. I think he's going to have a huge influence on the team. They've actually picked some young Indian batsmen. I think that's a really good move. The likes of Cheteshwar Pujara and Manoj Tiwari for me. I think they'll go well.
Brilliant. Okay, so you think they're going to go well. So can you tell me where you think they'll end up in the competition? Top 4 finish, it sounds to me.
Yeah, top 4 to me. I'm going to go Champions League for them.
Brilliant. That's top 2 then. So what sort of odds are we getting from the bookies from that then?
Well, Kolkata not strongly fancied by the bookies, interestingly enough. You can actually get between 7 and 9 to 1. And 9 to 1, if you can get that price each way, third the odds, that's effectively 3 to 1 to get into the final. I'd take that.
Mumbai Indians?
A team of stars, the Mumbai Indians, are none bigger, of course, than Sachin Tendulkar. Double century in a one-day international very recently. He's going to be on top 4. I think the crowds are going to come out in their thousands to watch Sachin bat. But let's not forget likes of Sanachai, Surya, Dwayne Bravo, England's own Graham Napier, who can hit a ball quite a long way as well. So a team filled with stars, this one.
Yes, talking of Napier there, he's also, I think, one of the leading wicket takers in 2020 cricket. Bowls at 85, if not more, miles an hour. Maybe his turn to really sparkle.
The leading wicket taker in 2020 cricket, Jim, absolutely right. Of course, not named in England's 2020 squads. He may be out there with a point to prove and just might up his mile an hour a bit. Okay,
so Mumbai Indians then, obviously a very popular team. Now, where do we think they're going to fare in the competition?
Difficult to tell, really, because again, they're a little bit like the Deccan Chargers. You don't really know. And again, 2020 is fairly unpredictable. They haven't yet made a semi-final. I'm going to put them in the semi-finals.
Okay, so that's top 4. So what sort of odds are we looking at here?
Looking at odds around about very sort of fixed, really, between 6 and 8 to 1.
Okay, that's the Mumbai Indians. Now it's time for the Rajasthan Royals.
Inaugural champions, what a game they played in that final a couple of years ago against the Chennai Super Kings. Struggled a little bit last year. A lot of their players struggled to really come to terms with the pitches in South Africa. I think they'll do a lot better now they're back on home soil. Now,
key players we've looked at so far, who do we think is going to be influential for their team this year?
Well, one man stands above the rest, really, when you talk about the Rajasthan Royals. It's got to be Shane Warne. What a leader, what a player, what a cricket brain he still has. Yusuf Pathan, I'd also put him up there in outrageous form at the moment. Double century in first-class cricket very recently on one leg, but I hear he's fully fit and raring to go, so look out for him. Interesting signings made by the Royals in one of the player auctions. Michael Lum, of course, of England, and Damien Martin. Be interesting to see how they go.
Brilliant. Okay, well, they look like they're going to have a good season. Where do we think they're going to finish in the table?
I'm not sure how many teams I've put in the semi-finals as yet, but they're going to be very close. I think they will be up there, top 4, top 5.
Okay,
just missing out.
Which means the odds sound to me like they're going to be sort of probably a bit of variance here.
A lot of variance, actually. There's a sort of 4-point gap between the shortest and the longest odds. You can get them at 5 to 1 with some bookmakers and as long as 9 to 1 with others.
Okay, that's the Rajasthan Royals. Now it's time for the Royal Challengers Bangalore.
Well, another team very similar to the Deccan Chargers had a pretty poor time of things in the first season. They shook things up. Vijay Malla in charge of a shrewd businessman, and all of a sudden got Kevin Peterson leading the side briefly in season 2. Anil Kumble took over, got them to the final where they missed out when they lost to the Deccan Chargers. So a real transformation.
You mentioned Kevin Peterson there. He's may or may not be in the whole tournament this year, but other players that are going to possibly influence how they get on.
Well, a man in form at the moment who's purchased by the Royal Challengers Bangalore is beginning to look better and better by the day is Owen Morgan. Maybe a few eyebrows raised when he was picked up at a recent auction, but he's on the form of his life, made in one-day international century for England very recently. So look out for him to, if he gets in the team, to potentially take some attacks to bits.
Fantastic. Okay, well, it sounds to me like they're going to have a pretty good chance this year. Where do you see them finishing up?
I'm not sure, actually, if they are going to have they're going to have a great chance. I don't know. For me, I mean, Anil Kumble, how well is he going to go? He's not the youngest bowler around. I don't think they're going to make the semis. I would sort of put them maybe down the bottom. Someone's going to be down the bottom. I'm going for Bangalore to drop down again. Okay, sounds like long odds to me. Thanks for that, John. Absolutely brilliant. Once again, the Cricket World analyst there, telling you what he thinks will happen in this year's IPL 2010. Don't forget, of course, you can go to cricketworld.com for all the latest news, views and reports on all the matches. And the odds from all the bookmakers will give you a really good chance of winning some money in this year's IPL.